Here now with
Destin Goblin.
And we are going to visit Halloween Horror Nights here at Universal Studios in Orlando, Florida. So we're going to go to each of the haunted houses and try and provide you some little snapshots and whatnot, and our review of each of the haunted houses. And we're just going to have a really cool time.
And I'm going to eat a bunch of stuff, and that'll be on my channel.
All right, see you then. Everybody, we just came out of the Bride of Frankenstein Lives, and I enjoyed it. It's got Universal Studios always has great theatrics, their costumes, their makeup, their actors are all really well done. Of course, they've got a lot of money to put into the actual set scenes and everything, so it was very elaborately done and that kind of a thing. My only little critique is that there was a lot going on both sides, and sometimes I know I missed certain aspects of the haunted house that my husband, Destin Goblin, was trying to get my attention and note that something behind me was going on. So that would be my only critique, is that they needed to maybe spread things out just a little bit and have stuff on one side and then stuff on the other side a little further up. What would you say?
Okay, so first of all, let me clarify, how many hatchets are we using this time, just or axes or whatever they are?
We can still do the
five bloody axes. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to say that this is one of the soundstage houses this year, and if you are familiar with Horror Nights, you know that the soundstage houses are a little bit more elaborate. There's a little bit more put into them, and this was no exception. Again, the theming at Horror Nights in all of the houses is beyond anything you will see anywhere else with the budgets that they have. I'm going to give this one a 3 out of 5 because the story is very good. You can follow the story very easily. It was interesting. It was a little bit almost repetitive in certain points, so that's one of the reasons I'm going to just give it 3 on this one. But also something to remember this year with COVID, of course, there are partitions between the actors and the guests, and the monsters all have masks on as well. If they don't have an actual rubber mask on, or a partition, then they have surgical masks as well, so that's something to look for. But I give that one a 3. That's our first one we're starting with, so we'll see what happens.
3 out of 5.
There we go.
All right, so we're moving on, and hopefully this rain lets up. All right, see you at the next house. Fans, teens, and friends, we're out of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre haunted house, and I would give it about 3 stars. Once again, the set designs were really good, the thematics and everything, all the themes. I just felt like there needed to be more actors and actresses that were victims in that. They had a lot of Leatherface and the other actor that was a family member, but then I felt like that person could have been made up instead of just throwing a mask on that person. I know Leatherface had a mask, but the other guy was actually just screwed up looking, so they could have, it's Universal Studios. I feel like they could have done a little bit with some of the actors and made them look more like that person than just throw a mask on. What do you think?
Well, I'll give that one a 3 as well. I liked that one. Another soundstage haunted house, so again, a little bit more theming. Texas Chainsaw is a little bit easier to do as far as basically you're just going through a farmhouse, so it's a little bit easier to kind of theme as more of a traditional haunted house. Lots of Leatherface in there. Leatherface in the different masks as well. The skin mask, the pig mask, lots of different Leatherface in there. The one thing I will say about Universal is where they're always at a drawback is the amount of people that they have to process through their houses. They have to keep things moving very quickly. And depending on where you are in that line when the scare comes out, you might miss the scare completely. Now, that was the case with The Bride for us. This one, our timing was a little bit better, so we saw more of the scares. So I think I like this one a little bit better than The Bride. Overall, I like the look of The Bride better, but this one I thought was better as a haunted house, but I give it 3.
Another thing that I think Universal could try to do is they have those little smells that you can make. Yeah. Like even going to the farmhouse, the first part you're going through like a gas station, have some gasoline smells. Yeah. So then that way you're getting that 3D or overall sensory type experience. All right, we're going on to the next haunted house. See you there. Hopefully it's not too loud in the background, but we just left the Revenge of the Tooth Fairy, and I was pretty impressed with that one. The thematics, everything, all the sets were set far enough apart that you weren't missing too much. There were plenty of actors in all of the different areas, and it was a neat little thing, you know, the kid that doesn't want to give up his tooth, what happens, and the Tooth Fairy goes crazy and becomes Monster Tooth Fairy, and so, you know, I do like that premise as well.
So, I like that one a lot. That was another soundstage maze. I thought the story was very good in that one, and it was very different from any of the other houses. It's almost, it's very reminiscent of like the Dr. Seuss ride, or some of the other rides at Universal. There's more moving elements in it that aren't, they're mechanical elements. And that was something that was kind of neat in there. And it's almost like you're walking through a giant fairy tale, like a storybook. So that was kind of cool. I'd give that one a 4-star, or a 4 bloody axes.
4 bloody axes for me, I think too.
There we go.
All right, you guys, we're gonna go off to see the
Icons.
Horror Nights Icons haunted house. All right, see you then. All right, friends, fiends, and fans, back at you with the Halloween Horror Nights Icon haunted house that we just left. And they had several of the icons, not all of them, I don't believe. I looked through their list, and I definitely didn't see all of them. But they had like the caretaker and the storyteller, the usher, that kind of thing.
Director, Jack.
Yeah. So
Chainsaw right outside.
but it was okay. I felt like there were a few little areas where I don't know if the lighting just wasn't coming on, so we never even saw the actors that were in the actual set. So that frustrated me, and that was right in the beginning. Then as we went through, there were some areas that were a little darkly lit, and I felt like they needed to light things up a little bit better just to accentuate the actors and the set a little bit more. It was a little dark for me, so I'm going to give that one maybe 2. I just wasn't happy overall with that one.
Okay. For me, it was kind of the opposite. That was probably my favorite one so far. That one I'm going to give a 4 to, and the reason for that is because this is the 30th anniversary of Horror Nights, and so for me, I've been here for many of those 30 years, and so to see all of those icons back again was kind of cool, and I thought they highlighted the particular aspects of each of those, the ones that were there, the director and the storyteller and Jack, and I like that one overall.
And Lady Luck too.
Okay, yeah.
That was a spinning wheel.
Okay, yeah, right.
And everything.
Yeah, and it was kind of cool to figure out what each of the things were, each of the rooms that we were walking into. Oh, who's the one that's going to be in here? One thing I did notice in that one, which it seemed very unusual for Universal. I don't know that I've ever noticed it before here. That is that there were some recycled props in there. Usually it seems like Universal gets all new stuff every year, but there were some of the old movie posters in there that we've seen before, some of the other set pieces and things like that.
Because it was
It very well may have been because of that, sure, but I just thought that was the first time that I've seen that, so I like that one. I gave that one a 4.
All right, we'll get back at you with the next haunted house shortly. Hello, fans, fiends, and friends. We're back after visiting Welcome to Scary Horror in the Heartland Haunted House. That's a mouthful. That was a very neat experience. It had a lot of different creatures, like vampires and various other creature, like a creature from the Black Lagoon, almost kind of creature, that kind of a thing.
Lots of things.
So I'm not familiar with what the overall theme was supposed to be, but it looked like maybe a town that had been taken over by all these various creatures, and that each set would theme that particular creature.
Yeah.
So I would probably give that one a 4-star.
Yeah.
It was good. I enjoyed it.
I'm going to give that one a 4 also. That was not a soundstage maze, but I did think for it being in one of the smaller buildings, they did a really good job with the theming and everything that was in there. I haven't the slightest idea what the story was behind that. It was very confusing. It was just a bunch of disjointed scenes, but it also felt like the most traditional haunted house that we've been through so far. It had different kinds of elements to it. It had a lot of water elements. I got wet 3 times in there, so lots of different things in there. I like that one. I give that one a 4.
Okay. We'll see you at the next haunted house. Hey fans, fiends, and friends, we are back from walking through the Wicked
Growth, Realm of the Pumpkin.
Haunted House, which actually was my favorite, I think, for tonight so far. I really loved all of the characters in it. They did a great job with the masks and overall costumes. The theming was excellent. There were areas where you were made to feel like you were either underground or inside of a large pumpkin with vines and roots and things like that. So they really gave you that effect of walking underground or being in some kind of a pumpkin of some sort. So it was very neat experience for me. I would give that a 5 out of 5 as far as I'm concerned. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm giving that one definitely a 5. That one, so far, that has been my favorite house of the night. I don't know what it is about that particular building, but Mrs. Goblin and I, we do this every year. We come every year. It's our annual trip. For about probably the last 4 or 5 years straight, that building is not one of the sound stages. It's one of those 2 buildings over by the Men in Black ride. That building has had my favorite maze the last about 5 years in a row. I don't know what it is about that building, but a lot of different techniques in that one this year. There was a height illusion. There's an area where you feel like you're actually walking on an area that's much higher, than it actually is. water elements. Again, the very ending of it, when the pumpkin lord reveals himself, you're supposed to be inside a giant pumpkin, and you can see all the tendrils from the guts inside the pumpkin, and they have the scent of carved pumpkins in there. So I mean, it was just the perfect maze so far for the night. That was my favorite 5 out of 5.
Yep, and Destin Goblin actually got slimed in it.
I always do. They always get me.
They also, I've noticed in the last couple of houses, so I know in one of the earlier houses, I kind of hit Universal for not using the smell factor, and they have used the smell factor in the last couple of houses. This one having kind of a pumpkin-y smell. There was another one that had like roses and that kind of a thing. So
Burning
they are,
smell,
so they're trying to do that. It's just they're not doing it in all the houses. So I would just like to have that whole senses experience. So I feel like I'm in there. All right, so we'll see you at the next haunted house coming up. All right, we're back from the next house that we went to, which was Puppet Theater Captive Audience.
Yep.
And I didn't like that one as much. I had some puppets and things like that, and then just wasn't my liking, so to speak. I don't feel like they had as much of a scare factor in there, though. I mean, there was some little gory elements and that kind of a thing, but I would probably give that one like a 3 out of 5 as far as I'm concerned.
Okay.
What do you think?
I'm going to give that one a 4 because I thought that the theming was very good. The story, although the story was thin, it was instantly recognizable as soon as you walked into it. It was the theater that was taken over by the puppets and the performers that made those puppets work. And the story was very consistent all the way through. It wasn't much of a story, but it was easy to follow. And it had all of the immersive elements to it. They did a good job of converting that building into a full theater experience, so you really felt like you were inside of a theater. We also hit our timing absolutely perfect on that one. We saw every actor, we got every scare in that one. So with the timing and with the theming and everything, I give that one a 4.
All right, we're back, and we just finished the Haunting of Hill House haunted house. And unfortunately, neither myself nor Destin Goblin have watched that. I know that it's on Netflix, so we're going to have to go and watch it.
Yep.
So it probably would have helped so we can understand it a little bit more and see how much their haunted house here correlates to the actual show. I did like the theming. It wasn't, it was good, and I mean, it was interesting, and it makes me want to watch the show, so that's a good thing.
Yeah.
So I would probably give it a 4 out of 5. I mean, I liked the actresses and whatnot throughout, and it was a little bit creepy, so I'll give it a 4.
I'm going to give it a 3. I have not seen the show either, and this would not be the first time that a trip to Horror Nights has sparked me watching a particular show, because I actually, a few years ago, had not seen Stranger Things before I came to Horror Nights and went through the Stranger Things house. So I'm probably going to, my interest is piqued. I'm probably going to have to give this one a shot on Netflix. But I'll give this one a 3 overall. I liked it as a haunted house. I thought it was good.
Yeah.
It had, actually, I'm going to change that. I'm going to give it a 4 because it had all of the elements to really make it an immersive experience.
Yeah.
It really felt like you were moving through an old house, and they did a good job with the look of everything, and the scares were there. So I give that one a 4.
All right, so we're going on to the next house, and we'll be right back with you.
Yep.
All right, fans, fiends, and friends. We just came from Beetlejuice. Now, that is one of my favorite movies. I just can't get enough of Beetlejuice.
Yeah, now you get
it. And I felt like they picked up the theme of you going through their waiting room and you know, the dead people zone and all of that, and they picked up on the scene with the dinner, which I really liked, and the scene where he turns into the big carousel. So I appreciated all of that, and those were all really great. They probably could have made it a little bit better. So I'm gonna just give that one a 4, not a 5. I feel like, you know, I liked the fact that it picked up on the elements that were the big little points in the whole movie and that kind of a thing.
Well, this one gets a 2 from me, just because this is something that Universal has started a couple of years ago. They started it with the Ghostbusters house. The house itself is not really intended to be all that scary. It's not a real traditional haunted house. It's more of like moving through a movie set. So yes, I enjoyed the Beetlejuice movie. Yes, I liked the house in the fact that it did very much feel like you were going through the Beetlejuice movie. But if you're going to grade that as a haunted house, I'm only going to give that one a 2, just because there's no scare to it.
Scary.
Yeah, there's no scare to it.
So
yeah,
otherwise,
appropriate for children.
All right, Halloween fans, fiends, and ghouls. This is the last house for Haunted Horror Nights, and we just entered the case files of Unearthed. And we had to do a little searching because we weren't sure exactly what this tale was supposed to be about, but basically it's something that Halloween Horror Nights came up with, and in 2008. And they started this Boris Schuster as a detective who works for the Collective, and apparently he fought Bloody Mary and barely made it through alive with that. And so he is discovering what is behind Halloween Horror Nights and why it is continually being perpetuated every year here at Halloween Horror Nights. And so this haunted house is a little bit of a summary of all of the different, I guess, creatures that he has encountered and come across and is trying to get rid of. So then that way Halloween Horror Nights, I guess, will stop, which we don't want that to happen, but you know, oh well. So I liked all the different themes and everything, lots of different creatures. Overall, I liked the scares and everything, so I'm going to give that one a 4. I liked it. I enjoyed it. And the story, once I knew what was going on, helped kind of solidify that even more.
Yeah, I'm going to give that one a 3, just because the story is... We had to look it up. We had to search for it. I wish we had done that actually before we went in. I might have enjoyed it a little bit more. Each room is made like a novel. There's a poster hanging in each room that shows you what case it's supposed to be, and it looks like an old Hardy Boys book. And it's very confusing if you don't know anything about this, which we did not. It's pretty cool. It might have been... I might have given it a higher score, but I don't think they've done a very good job of explaining that house. But just standing on its own, I mean, it's got all the haunted house elements in it. That was good, but I'm just going to give that one a 3.